And good evening, everybody. It's Friday night, and it's time for our Craft Beer Nation Friday Night Hangout. I'm Gil Mello, your host for tonight. If you want to learn more about Craft Beer Nation, just check our website, craftbeernation.beer or craftbeernation.org, and from there you can find links for our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and all that media. You can also watch the shows afterwards on our YouTube channel. Uh, Make sure to check our Pints and Quarts, where we interview all those great breweries and people that are big on the craft beer right now. And tonight, I have some friends, and we're going to talk about beers from Sierra Nevada Brewing. So we're going to celebrate Sierra Nevada tonight. And with me, I have Sir Charles Dunkley. How are you doing, Charles?
Doing pretty good. I'm not sure what
Uh,
just happened. Oh, there goes my camera.
yeah, you're like your
We got
camera
a
has
little
drunk
blurry
already.
there for a minute.
Yeah.
It starts
Yeah, I
drinking
moved
early.
slightly out of the picture, and it focused on my exploding TARDIS picture up there.
You went in your Van Gogh swirl there. I have the one and only Doug Nolan.
Howdy.
I'm so surprised you don't have a Bigfoot, but we'll talk about that later on. And also, Freddie Rodriguez. How are you doing, Freddie?
What's up, everyone? What's going on? Yeah, how you doing?
Awesome. All right. I don't know. Well, before we start, why don't we talk about Sierra Nevada? I'll start with you, Charles. Is that a brewery that you look for their beers? Are you like, it's what do you think about them?
Well, I mean, they're definitely one of your more like iconic craft breweries. They've been around a long time, and they do have some big classics. I'm a much bigger fan of some of their other beers, like their Bigfoot barley wine in particular, and especially some of their seasonals. Like I wait for Celebration around the end of the year, and then Ruthless Rye, and those are two big like sort of cap both ends of the winter for me. But you know, their Pale Ale, their Torpedo. I mean, they make a solid lineup across the board. I tend to, for some reason, just like even Sam Adams, I probably bypass them more than I should. But they're a really good brewery. If you're newer to craft beer, they're one of the breweries I would definitely recommend exploring their main lineup as a start, because you're gonna get a pale ale, a porter, an IPA. You're gonna get you're gonna hit all the main bases.
Awesome. Well, 800,000 barrels is not a small production.
Yep.
That's a lot of beer.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Doug? What's your opinion on Sierra Nevada?
For me, Sierra Nevada's kind of been a long-time favorite of mine. However, to me, it's kind of... I know we've talked about... it was a few weeks ago when I had some of the Sam Adams stuff. To me, I feel like Sam Adams and Sierra Nevada are so comparable, but some reason Sierra Nevada kind of gets all the praise, and Sam Adams at times kind of gets like put down. I think a lot of the stuff from Sierra Nevada, there's nothing I don't think that's bad from them. There's things I may not like because I don't like the style per se, but everything is very well made. I don't think there's really I don't really think there's many that'll like blow your mind. Everything's just really well made and really easily drinkable. If I go someplace and there's no beer on draft that I really like, there's always, usually can find some like pale ale someplace. But yeah, like Charles was saying, like Celebration is hands down one of their two beers, that and Bigfoot, that I look forward to, every year. Like Celebration is just so good.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of their staple beers too kind of get overlooked. Like their porter is really good, their American stout's really good.
Their pale ale is very solid.
Yeah, pale ale's delicious. I mean, I think they're kind of in the same boat as like Sam Adams. Like if you're getting into craft beer, if you want like really good examples of just some of the basic styles or common styles, like either one of those, are a really good place to start.
Yeah, that's for sure. Freddie, before you answer, which year were you born?
81.
When were you born?
What year was I born?
Yeah,
I just said 81.
81. So just so you know, Sierra Nevada is older than you are.
Yes.
I,
Almost as cool.
almost as cool. It's not as cool as you, but I'm just saying that because, I mean, we craft
Yeah.
beer has
Yeah.
exploded a lot only in the last decade, and we forgot that breweries like Sierra Nevada are solid because they've been around,
Wow.
for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, we're talking about Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, a lot of these bigger breweries. Sometimes I wonder if their productions, being what it is, so big, so much volume, that it almost hurts these bigger breweries sometimes. Just it's so much more easily, it's easier to get for you, so it's so I wonder sometimes, like you see a Bigfoot, you see like I'm a big fan of uh, narwhal, and barrel aged narwhal. I think that's excellent, but do you people sometimes they see the Sam Adams, they see the Sierra Nevadas, they see Stone or Dogfish Head, and they say, you know what, I can get that next week if I come into the bottle shop, but I see that bottle over there, and that's doesn't come around as often, and you skip out on that, like I'm saying. And the reason I bring that up is like we're saying, like they've been around for a long time. They're obviously doing something right if they're still around, and you
Well,
know,
I think you're right because a lot of their beers, a lot of their regular beers are, obviously around
yeah,
most of the time. Can I tell you the last time I went in and bought, a 6 pack or a 12 pack or a bottle of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale? Probably not. Um, and I think it's just me and the fact that every time I go to the store, usually I'm looking for things I haven't had. So
yeah, yeah, that's right.
I'll repeat things and I'll buy things that I drink and I like to drink, but I don't for some reason I like you said like I kind of I see a Sierra Nevada, see the Sierra Nevadas or the Sam Adams like oh that's always here. The only
Yeah,
time I really fall back and get those types of beers or if I'm in places that if I go into a convenience store or a crappy grocery store that doesn't really have much, generally you're always going to find Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
That's true. So what you're all drinking tonight, Freddie?
drinking Bigfoot barley wine.
Uh, look at that. That
It's
is,
good.
and I'm not a big fan of American style barley wine, but that is a really solid, really good
Yeah,
barley wine.
yeah, it's one of the few actually, like you were saying, like American styles that I enjoy. Um, it's solid. I mean, yeah, like I was saying earlier off air, I've been drinking so much, like so many of the English styles, so it's you get like this sweet maltiness, nice backbone to it, and this is like almost like it's like a refreshing almost because it's the hop present to me compared to the other ones seems so much stronger. Of course, being an American style, it's like almost like a refreshing my palate. Like wow, it's cleaning it almost.
So how's that beer?
Um, oh man, it's again, if you get the hop, you can smell it. You get like a nice, clean, malty sweetness to it, almost like candied sugar to it. Uh, it's crisp, and you can like again saying like, it's something that you can tell. Like Sierra Nevada, they know what they're doing. They've been around for a long time. But this is you won't. I wouldn't say like wow, this is like like ridiculous barley wine that I have to get all the time. But this is a barley wine, and you see it there, it's available, and you say, you know what, I'll pick this up because this is super solid. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
not like if you want to get a go-to like American style barley wine, like this is a perfect one to grab.
awesome. Right, Doug. I see you have an Oktoberfest there.
So yeah, this is I guess I believe if I remember correctly that this may be the first time they've ever brewed this beer. The Oktoberfest brewed in collaboration with Brewhouse. We were talking about this earlier. I have no idea. I'm sure I'll butcher the German pronunciation, but it's spelled Riegle. Um, they have been they were established in just a few years ago in 1386. So they've been brewing a little while.
I think
Uh,
not the Oktoberfest. You mean that collaboration with that specific brewery, right?
yeah, this beer was brewed in collaboration with that brewery. That's been brewing for, 600 some odd years. So we were talking a little bit about this before the show in regards to Oktoberfest and what, not necessarily the history, but kind of the flavor profile from these beers. And when I'm about half done with it now, but it's. I know many people kind of despise or don't in the craft beer world don't really get big into like some of the lagers out there, but like a really well-made lager, they're so refreshing, and this is, I don't know what the ABV is on it. 6%. So it's a 6% alcohol Oktoberfest, and it's so just clean, crisp. It's kind of got a kind of like a malty sweetness to it. We were talking about earlier about the flavor profile, and Gil mentioned like caramel, and it's it kind of has that like caramel malt sweetness to it. There's really not much of any kind of hop presence or anything. It's just a well balanced, easy drinking, amber lager. I don't kind of see a little bit of what it looks like here, but it's really good.
Yeah, it's. I didn't have that. I look it around. I haven't seen that on my area yet. Because Oktoberfest, they normally have to originally. Those are Oktoberfest style. I'm not sure about that particular one you're drinking. Normally, Oktoberfest here in the US are Oktoberfest style because Oktoberfest have to be brewed by a specific recipe by the Reinskabut, whatever you pronounce the German, has to be brewed in Munich. But I think the taste profile, I mean, they're getting really, really good. I know Santa Fe made a really good Oktoberfest that I liked a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, I know like a lot of American versions, whether they really go, towards the whole Heinz-Gebot, whatever you call it. But like, I figure like this brewery they brewed this thing with, it's been around since the late 1300s. I would assume that they probably followed pretty closely to, anything anything at all related to Oktoberfest beers. They probably went, followed it to the T as far as like recipes and, all that.
Well, they claim that this is the best Oktoberfest in the world. That's a big claim.
Who said that?
I think that's on their website. That's what they say on their website. There's a link for a men's journal. Now, what men's journal is, I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, it says brewed in collaboration with Brewhaus Riegele, I don't know, of Augsburg, Germany. The Oktoberfest lager is deep golden color and rich with malt flavor from the use of traditional German Steffi barley. So they even use German barley in the damn beer. So, I mean, I guess that's, kind of taking it to the extra step of not only we're going to brew the style, we're going to brew it with German malt. So.
Great. So, we'll move on to Charles. Did your Van Gogh picture get your swallow your beer there?
No.
Yeah, that's the Doctor Who explosion on the Van Gogh episode, isn't it? I see that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Get up there. That's the TARDIS is just. I think they repeated that episode that they're having a special because of the Doctor Who is coming back now, and they're having like 5 special episodes, and I think that's one of the.
Yeah, that was one of the ones in the special replays they've been doing. It's one of my favorite episodes in the series. So I was just looking at my Untapped because we did all those pumpkin and Oktoberfest beers last year, and I did not and have not had that Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest yet.
Me neither.
So I'm gonna have to. That's all over the place where I am here, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
pick one
I
up.
feel like it's new this year, and the bottle even says like I'm sure I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but it says like one time only.
Huh. So maybe that's why I didn't have it. That would explain it.
But I wonder
Yeah,
if it's one time only with that specific brewery, because I thought they had done that before. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they haven't had one, but who knows? I guess we can look that up at some point. At the moment, though, my first beer I'm having is one of their newest ones, and it is their Hop Hunter
Hop Hunter.
IPA, which is their new one that apparently has distilled. I don't know if you can
Hop
get that.
oil.
Popular.
Distilled hop oils, and I like it. It's a good IPA. I don't consider it like a top tier IPA personally, but it's certainly not bad at all. You know, it's got a nice a light bitterness, a little light floral, a light piney, but nothing overwhelming or big. I don't know what the extracted hop oils or distilled hop oils were intended to do with the beer. So I would love to have the non-distilled version if Sierra Nevada made one with the same exact ingredients and had just hops or distilled hops. I'd love to do a side-by-side comparison to see if there's any difference at all or what the difference would be. But I mean, it's
yeah.
definitely it's a nice beer.
I kind of mixed reviews too about that thing too, because I was like thinking, oh, this distilled hop oil, this is going to be some, mind blowing new thing. But like I think I think like you said, it's hard to compare. Like if they were to do that beer, same recipe with hops and kind of hit the same specs with IBUs versus
Sure.
using the hop extract. Like I guess it's impossible to say, how it's different. Like to me, I feel like the aroma of that beer may be more prevalent than other IPAs from Sierra Nevada, but like I don't think it's.
Yeah, and I think it probably adds more to the aroma than anything else. It does seems to add more aroma than taste. It's pretty light to me for an IPA, and like very, it's hard to tell here, but it's crystal clear.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But it's almost more on the yellowish orange side than more of your deeper. Maybe I'm just spoiled from things like 6 Point Resin and others, which are more on the darker side of the IPA.
Yeah.
I hate to call it like a gimmick, but it seems to be kind of, hey, we've done this new thing. Let's, put it out there to try to push, sales as this new trend in IPAs, even though they're the only people that do it.
Yeah, and I guess for them too. I mean, Torpedo, I guess it's an extra IPA, or I don't know if that means it's a double IPA or it's in between an IPA and a double IPA. I mean, it's really hard to tell if it's just marketing or intended to make it its own unique niche.
Yeah.
But so for here, it's like, the label's nice. This is the infamous Tony
Lagunitas,
yeah,
Sierra Nevada.
almost lawsuit. Yeah, but
Stirred up a lot of stuff.
and it's to touch base on that for a moment. Sierra Nevada does make overall some of my favorite labels. They do a really, really good job on like Celebration, Flipside, Ruthless Rye. Whoever does their labels for them, they do a pretty spectacular job.
Awesome. Well, I'm almost finished with I'm drinking Rain Check. I don't know if you guys remember that beer. That was they were doing test batches on their new brewery in North Carolina, and it just rained like 75 inches of rain, and the construction had to stop. And this is the first, what they call their first specialty beer, that they said they're gonna make one different every year. Um, so it seems that the brewery construction got into a crawl, and they decided to make something that as they say, would warm everybody and make everybody be able to copy with the terrible bitter cold. So it's a spiced stout. I'm trying to remember if I had a spiced stout before. I don't know if I would consider like a gingerbread beer, those beer. You could say the spiced stouts as well, right? But
Yeah,
not as
Yeah, I would say
I
something
would
like
say,
that,
yeah.
or even like Prairie Bomb.
yeah.
Maybe kind of a spiced out, but it's that I guess it's spiced differently.
Yeah.
But
Well, they have all spice, but then they put a ginger and lime uh, on this beer, and I have conflicting ideas. Uh, I don't think it's a terrible beer, but I don't think it's a great beer either. It's
yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it.
um
Spice
I
is kind of a general term.
yeah I read some reviews and everybody was raving about it and saying how the lime and the ginger and the coffee works together.
My main problem with that
Not for me.
stout is when you get into like spices, when you get into those kind of cinnamon type stuff, uh, I feel that beer lacks the body. So if you would
Oh,
say
there's
compare,
there's no body. This beer is
yeah.
thin
So
as heck.
Yeah.
if you compare, so in a comparison like that beer to say the infamous gingerbread stout, like gingerbread stout from Hardywood, is it's got so much body. It's so viscous and creamy and rich, and it's got those spices. But where Rain Check, and the thing is, it's like it's a higher ABV stout too, or not? I'd say, I mean, isn't it like 8 or 9?
That's a 8.9%. It drinks
Yeah.
like
So
a successful beer to me is like a 10% beer that I have to remind myself it's a 10% beer. This is a
Yeah.
9% beer that drinks like a 9%. You know what I mean?
yeah, but like if I feel like if that beer had a little bit more body to it, and it was more obviously more viscous, like a gingerbread stout, but had that same flavor profile, and dropped the carbonation a little bit, I think it'd be awesome.
Well, I
Uh,
But
wonder
that
if
would you consider Stone? I mean, it has a name, spiced, a chai spiced. Their imperial. Did you say that's spiced?
I never had it.
You know how it?
not under the same. I think the problem is not the spice. I think what's throwing me off is I'm not sure if it's the lime, but kind of a sourness in the very end. So this beer basically drinks like coffee, right? It's very coffee forward. And then you get hit by the spices.
No.
And it seems that that's what everybody's enjoying. But for me, it's almost like you drink a beer that has some off flavor. Something went wrong with the beer and got a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So if I did know that those tastes are caused by the ginger and the lime, I would probably think this beer went bad somehow.
Well,
That's
sometimes when you get into some of those really roasty stouts, you kind of get that kind of weird. Um, what's the flavor I'd look it up if I could. Um, when you use like too much roasted grain, you can kind of get a weird like astringency, kind of weird flavor to that. Um, Last times it can be from like coffee or
yeah. I just it's just I don't mind. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible beer. I'm just gonna say it's not for me. That's it's not a beer I would buy again. And I'm very surprised because I actually didn't buy this beer.
I
It
was
was
about to
sent
say that.
it was sent to me by Randy. Um, and so it was a little
He set you up for
you
failure, Joe.
don't look what was
Set
like
up.
you don't look at a free horse's mouth or something. How was that saying go?
Yeah, he sent me one as well, and I had it maybe a week, or not a week. I was away all last week, so I had it probably a couple of weeks ago, and 2 weeks later, all I can say is I remember liking parts of it and not liking other parts, but that's about it. So it's not. ends up for me not being memorable
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, to me, usually I would like beers that are very coffee forward. You kind of, really, it's my forte, right? Kind of thing that I like. Uh, this beer, not so much. Again, it's not a terrible beer, and if you like something different, I think I'm not gonna say don't buy it. I just don't think it's something that if they do it again, I would go out of my way to get it. Um, you know, I don't score a beer, but it will be easily down at 3 out of 5 instead of a 4. But yeah, it's different, and I give them credit for experiment, but not every experiment is good. I don't even know what beer advocate and those places give those. I didn't want to look at the score, so it didn't get influenced. But yeah, basically you get a lot of coffee. For me, you get a lot of coffee forward with the hints of bitter chocolate, and then you get that astringence. I don't know, but I think it's come from the ginger and the lime.
Hmm.
That's kind of a yeah
Curveball.
yeah. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, and I think it was the ginger for me too. I didn't get hardly any lime at all. I wouldn't have even known lime was in there.
Yeah.
But
It's
I think it was the ginger was kind of the little off-putting for me.
Yeah, and I like the ginger. It almost like the beginning is very pleasant because you get the coffee and the ginger, and you're almost thinking, oh, I'm gonna get something like a gingerbread stout, and then you get that little acidity in the end, and that breaks off for me. So
Yeah. Would you say it's more like a as opposed to like you said gingerbread stout, that
right,
sweet ginger? Is it more of like a clove of ginger, like like a crushed ginger, kind of like a more of a bite to it?
right, yeah, and which is terrible for me. Like I
Yeah.
have a low tolerance for lactose, so and I just love gingerbreads. It's one of those beers that I know I'm gonna get sick and I'm drink anyway.
Yeah.
I just endure it because it's
Yep.
worth.
I'll worry about it
Anybody?
later.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other beer?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to pour mine in just a moment.
Okay.
Just gotta finish the last of the Hop Hunter.
Yeah.
I got a gnarl, so I'm seriously thinking about open that. Um,
I think you
but
should.
yeah, but yeah, just so people that are watching, few viewers that we have today, but so it was founded I don't know. I found some resource. Some place says it was founded in 1980. Some places said it was founded in 1979. I guess there's a difference between being established and founded. So I'm not sure. So in any way, even if it's founded in 1980, that's a long time to be around. They, I think they distributed in every single state. Uh, I would say maybe not Hawaii, but maybe even Hawaii. I think they distribute everywhere. They have a new brewery, in North Carolina, and I've watched a lot of shows like BrewDog, the guys from uh, that we interviewed here for several breweries we interviewed talk about Sierra Nevada like they when they didn't have hops, they called the guys in Sierra Nevada and they just you say, yeah, no, we don't have much, but we can spare you a few bags of this, or you can send that. So although they got big and grew up, they still have that camaraderie, that friendship. Uh, they didn't lose that. They still help other people out. They don't look other craft breweries as competition on the predatory side. Take my market. They really really care about craft beer, independent of being uh, so big, and they make some. Trying to remember what's that the Trappist style beers that they make. Trying to remember. Uh, Help me out here. Man, I hate when I forgot words just disappeared from my head. But
Is it
oh, the
Vila,
Ovila,
Avila,
the
yeah,
Ovila series.
Avila, yeah,
Yeah, I mean
Oh yeah, that's a good series.
they
yeah,
make
Avila.
you know uh, a trip. Trappist style beers, which is it can go right, it can go wrong many times. And they in all their beers, I think they have a quad, a
Yeah, their quad
triple.
with plums is
Yep.
pretty outstanding.
Yeah, the quality plums. They have a what's it called, the Abbey Golden with pomegranate. Pomegranate.
Yeah, I try to any of their Ovillas. Whenever I see them, I try to grab one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know that the brewery that they partner when they do those, I can't remember the name of the brewery. It's a brewery that actually is petitioning or has registered to try to become a Trappist beer. I'm not sure if they got it yet. I don't think so because we would have heard about it. A new Trappist brewery, but yeah. So it's a brewery
Cool.
that has a lot of tradition, and doing a lot of stuff. So they they know what they're doing. I mean, GABF, they always have something from Sierra Nevada on. It's a solid brewery. Pretty great.
Yeah, you said it. Been on
So,
for a
all
long, long
right.
time.
We still
Down.
have, let's see, still have a few minutes. I guess I'm going to open my. I was about to say this is my favorite beer, and then I remember Oliva. But this is one of the best beer for me that Sierra Nevada makes, and it's Narwhal. Uh,
Huh.
they
I may
have
have to
a
get another one of those. I had one. I had one, and I thought it was nice. But I heard so much raving about that beer. I was a little disappointed.
yeah.
But again, it could have just been. It was a 12-ounce bottle that I
Yep.
got loose, so it could have just been an old one, or I have no idea. So I definitely want to revisit that one.
It
Is that an
does.
old? Now, is this a newer bottled one? 'Cause they
That's
just,
a
I think
that's
they
a
just released it.
214. That's a
Oh yeah,
214.
I think they literally just, last week,
Yeah,
this week or something like that. The new ones this year.
yeah. This is a 2014. It always come. I think it's too soon for the narwhal, right? It's
No,
November,
it's out. It's
October,
out now.
November. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
I
No,
thought they come like October, November, end of October, beginning of November. But maybe they start brewing now, and
yeah. Yeah,
let's see,
I'm pretty sure it's out. I could have sworn I saw a tweet from them or something like that. Like, people started getting this year's novel already.
let's see. Uh, they have a barrel aged version of that beer,
That's
Charles. That is really, really good.
I
really
know
good.
that's what I hear.
Yeah, that I prefer. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of regular narwhal. I liked it, but it wasn't like mind blowing. The bourbon barrel, the Kentucky bourbon barrel version is much more complex.
Cool. And I guess I liked it more than I realized because I'm looking at my old Untapped stuff and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So,
Yeah.
but I think I was expecting it to be like a 5-star beer, maybe. I don't know, because I just remember it not living up to the reputation. But again, that's
Right.
part of the, I guess, I don't know, not to say a trap, but that's part of the things we have to just be careful with, because everyone's experience is so completely different. So,
Yeah,
but
that's why you have to, it's if you look inside like
Hey,
beer advocate, it's always you run the dangers of all of a sudden get influenced by what other people say about beer.
Gil, so
yeah,
I'm looking at their 2015 release calendar. So Narwhal's right at the end of August. So yeah, it's definitely out.
Okay.
I'll have to look
Well,
for
yeah.
it.
But the
Well,
barrel
for this
age,
year,
their barrel age version is November. So maybe that's what you're thinking.
Hmm.
well, I think then it's a rotating. Maybe they brew different months, different year. Because I think this one is US in November
So
25th.
I wonder when we get them because they have the Oktoberfest mid July on their website.
Yeah, because this is like November 25th. So
Maybe, hey, like you said, like they
quite a
wrote it.
year.
Maybe that's when they start. They originally released it, but
Yeah, this is
following
a
dates are different.
it's a heavy beer. I mean, this is a monster.
Pretty malt forward.
Yeah. Trying to remember. I think it's 10. Yeah, it's 10.2%. I couldn't
Yeah,
find it in the
yeah,
bottle.
temperature. Yeah.
And this is a beer that they make that has nice coffee flavor to it and stuff that I enjoy. It's just a great beer. Another great example. And I think it's one of those beers too that we talk about Sierra Nevada and we forgot about them. Uh,
Sure.
Some
That's,
of
that's
those
another
beers.
example of a great label too.
Yeah.
Love the
Yeah, it's
narwhal
very cool.
flavor.
Yeah.
Narwhal. I was reminding my daughter because we play some kind of memory game, and she always gets the narwhal. She loves the name narwhal.
Hmm.
Cool.
All right. So, anybody else? Anything else that you want to say about Sierra Nevada? Do you
Yep.
have the
I've actually
Optimum
got
on your hand?
I've got my second beer,
Optimum.
the Optimum with the guy with the hop for a head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just reading up on this a little bit, and it's 100 IBUs. It's, according to Beer Advocate, 10.4% ABV, and this is a whole cone hopped IPA. So apparently they use the whole cone, they hop it, they dry hop it, and they do their torpedo thing, whatever that is. They do their sort of patented process. And this is an example of, again, it's an imperial or double IPA, and it's an example of a big, like gorgeous color, but it's big, it's hoppy, it's piney. You get mangoes, you get all that stuff. I know a lot of people who this is a bit too much for them, um, and but for me, I love it. For as far as a big imperial IPA, the bigger the better. Just you
Yep.
got to just go for
Bold.
broke. But if you're going for an imperial IPA, you just got to go for broke. And this is also another beer that I've been fortunate enough to have on tap as well, and it's even better on tap than it is in the bottle, and it's pretty spectacular in the bottle. But if you like that big, like piney grapefruit, that rind, that bitterness, all that with a lot of tropical fruit flavors, this has all of that. But it also has its own kind of unique combination, its own unique taste. Because there are a decent amount of big imperial IPAs now that have all those profiles in them, but this one manages to put them together in its own unique way. It's really really good. And
Yo,
one thing, just
I think
one
those
thing
mic
more,
is muted.
yeah, and one thing more about this is some IPAs, you drink it and you get the stuff up front, and then the beer changes and you get other things as it travels through your palate. And for me in particular, this beer, you get everything up front in that very first beginning of your sip, and it just barrels right through. So maybe that's why some people may not like it as much, because it doesn't go through a
Stages.
transition of flavors and things in your mouth. It just punches you in the face and keeps driving through the back of your skull pretty much. And you're going to get at the very end of your sip what you get at the very front of your sip. And I think that's part of what makes it a little different than a lot of beers. So we can't hear you at all, Gil.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
can't hear me at all?
Now you can.
Oh, now we can, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like, not want to talk too much. No, but yeah, that is a great beer. It's another beer. See, now you start talking. It's amazing how there's some beers that you always get it, and sometimes you even forget about it. The breweries that make them. It just so much about this specific beer nowadays, rather than a whole selection of breweries. But yeah, this narwhal is amazing. This the resting did a lot of wonders to it. But look at this, still
The
have
head looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
I think.
Mm. A lot of chocolate, bitter chocolate, uh, bitterness in the end. You get those roasted malts. You get full flavor for this beer. Yeah. So this is my kind of beer. That's it's such a difference from the rain check to this beer. It's amazing. Yeah.
And what's cool too is for me, from a visual aspect, when I see like a big stout, there's just something extra appealing when I see that tan head rather than that white head. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But that seems to enhance my expectations for the beer.
Hmm.
It definitely does.
Now the thing I don't know if you can see, it's very tiny bubbles on this head, which is nice. Very creamy. Yeah. But it's another punch. That's those two beers combined. Uh, it's a lot of ABV. So yeah. So what's the ABV on the Hop Tune?
According to Beer Advocate, it's 10.4.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I thought it was 11, but maybe I could see 10.4. I don't know if it's on the bottle anywhere.
See, I think, like I was saying earlier about Sierra Nevada, now that I'm thinking about it, like of course, there's pros and cons to everything, right? So, sure, they're you can get them everywhere, most, where you go, grocery stores, bottle shops, bars, restaurants, whatever the case may be. Um, but also, if you're looking like for craft beer and you're saying, I want something different, I'm sick of macro, breweries, because they're so easily available and because they've been around so long, they're doing things right. They have a wide selection of beer styles that you can try, from lower ABVs to higher ABVs. And just like, again, on the other side of the spectrum is, because they're so easily available, that's like a good brewery that you can say, you know what, you want to get into craft beer, you want to drink some different kind of beers, you don't want to, like, nothing about trading and searching. You go to a place, you see Sierra Nevada, they have Pilsners, they have regular IPAs, double IPAs, porters, stouts, whatever, a whole line of different styles of beers that you can try and say, all right, this is what I like. I don't really like this. I like this style. Let me kind of go there and explore maybe other breweries have to offer in that kind of style, And I think that's a real strong point for them.
Yeah, it's proof that you can get big but not lose your quality.
Yep.
And Hop to Moon is a proof of that. It's such that beer is 100 IBUs, which is
Yeah, and I love a 100 IBU beer. Like resin. Resin, I think, is up there, like 100 or 101. Hop Stupor from Lagunitas is another one that's, I think, 100 IBUs. So I like when they push an Imperial IPA up into the 100 IBU range.
Yeah. Nothing like, what's that Mikel make that 1,000 IBUs, which theoretical. Because the human palate can only, about between 130 and 150, it's what the average person can perceive as bitterness. And so there's a lot of marketing to it. But yeah, I think that cap of 100, 100 and some IBUs for me too. If there's a lot of citruses attached to it, it just makes it special.
Yeah, and I think that sort of citrus, tropical, resiny really helps balance that level of IBU out. If you're just going to go for just a super bitter, like 100 IBU beer without having that tropical notes into it, it may not come out as well. It may just be too much. But if you're going to go that big on the IBU side, you got to go that big on the flavor, and that's why I like Optimum.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's it. I guess, man, there's nothing much to say. It's an excellent brewery. Does an amazing job. People that are working there. We had one of our moderators, Alan Huerta, was part of their beer camp.
Yeah, their beer camp. Yeah.
We went for their.
There were a lot of interesting beers in that beer camp 12-pack that they put out.
Yeah. Well, that was that was the beer.
There.
Yeah, that was the beer camp bus. That was a different beer camp. I don't know. They should have chosen a different name. Yeah, they should have chosen a different name.
Yeah, but and I don't know if that was beers that came out of previous beer camp experiments. I don't know how it all worked.
No, those were collaborations. That was they
Yeah,
did a
that's right,
collaboration with
that's right.
several different breweries. Yeah.
And there were some really, really, really good beers in that collaboration pack. There were some pretty spectacular ones in there.
Awesome.
But and one quick note: if Sierra Nevada ever does watch or listen to this, stop putting your seasonals in your mix packs only. Last year, Ruthless Rye comes out in 6-packs, 12-packs every year, except for the most recent year. It was only in their seasonal mix pack, and they're doing that now to Flipside in their fall seasonal. I haven't seen Flipside 6-packs anywhere, so don't do it to Celebration ever, and stop doing it to Ruthless Rye. Just a personal note to Sierra Nevada from me.
Or else.
Celebration is a 4-pack, right?
Oh, I know. I get 12-packs of Celebration every year.
Okay, no, but
I don't
does it
think
come
I've
in a 4 and a 6-pack normally?
Celebration comes in 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I usually buy multiple 12-packs of it. That's like my number one winter beer is Celebration.
Get excited, get
and
shivers.
yeah, and Matt Miller, Matthews, if he's watching this or listens to this later, I'm sure he will put Celebration right up there and very high on his list too.
Sounds awesome. Well, hope you guys enjoyed today. It was fun to drink with you guys again. Friday.
Mhm.
It's all about
Absolutely.
drinking beer with friends. Make sure to drink craft beer and enjoy. Be happy, sit down, chat with friends, have a good time. Try to forget harsh times of life once in a while.
Yeah.
And beer is a great way to share time with friends. And next week we'll be back again, and next week is September 11th. So celebrating September 11th, we're doing New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia beers. And Charles will explain to you why we're doing New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia
Well,
beers.
we picked New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia beers because on September 11th, those were pretty much where the planes crashed in New York City, in Pennsylvania, and I guess technically the Pentagon is in Virginia, not D.C. So we're doing that next week. And personally, I'm in New York, Gil's in Pennsylvania, so it happens to work out really well for us to get some good local beers.
Local beers, yeah.
But yeah, we're looking forward to honoring September 11th next week, and just focusing on the areas that were the most directly impacted, I guess.
Right. Some things cannot be forgotten and have
Nope.
to be remind us bravery of other people. So
Absolutely.
thank you. On that note, join us next week when we're drinking beers from the states of New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, and we'll be back here around 10 o'clock again. It's become 10-ish nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't forget to check our craftbeernation.beer or .org, and follow us on Twitter on Craft Beer CBN Community. Craft Beer _ nation on Instagram. We're on Facebook and everywhere. As Doug says, we're like a plague. We're just spreading everywhere. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great evening and drink more craft beer. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Right.
Night.
Good night, guys.